podcast contains potentially adult language, adult themes, definitely drinking, and possibly sexual context. Listener discretion is advised.
Okay, started. Okay, woo! Welcome to Drinking Authors. Another COVID edition, so we're doing this via Skype. Any audio things, too bad. Get over it. So I'm your host, Erica Lance, and with me today is
Vanessa Valiente.
And we have an amazing guest today. It's Kenya Wright. Okay, let's talk about what we're all drinking, because I decided to mix some vodka and tonic water, and I probably should have put a lemon or something in it, but I'm gonna call it COVID roughing it with my vodka and tonic. I'm cool. Okay, what do you got, Vanessa?
I got like a peach honey sparkling water mixed with some good old vodka, so
Yes,
nice pep in your step.
we hit the vodka pretty hard today. Okay, what are you drinking? Yeah.
I'm calling it a quarantini and chill.
Oh.
Quarantini and chill right here. And so I wrote this down because this is the first time usually I just pour rum into a glass and just keep it moving, right? But I was like, no, I'm gonna do something special.
Yeah.
So I did ginger kombucha, a little bit of vermouth, I don't know if I'm saying it right. Vermouth, and then a bunch of rum because it's that type of week, and then a little lemon peel twist. It's a crazy week.
Oh my
I
goodness.
love style.
This week has had some ups and some horrible downs. Some horrible downs the last couple of days.
Peace, Black Panther, rest in peace.
Oh, don't even get me started.
We'll start crying.
We're not talking about it. We're drinking and having fun.
So we gotta go back to writing because we'll cry if we talk about this. Yes. Well, yes. So, okay. For our audience members who have never had the honor of meeting you, will you talk a little bit about what you write?
Of course. I have 50 novels. I've been working.
Yeah.
But yeah, 50 novels. I'd say the KW ingredients for a novel is for my KW novels. It's like suspense, really hot, steamy romance. I like death. I like a dead body, or at least some shooting. Something like that. I also recently have been doing making the novels illustrated because I'm really into visual stuff. So I've had my artists, maybe the past 2 years, my artists will put in about 15 to 20 images. So it'll be either of a romantic scene or an action scene or a very hot, sexy erotic scene. So.
Wow. Yeah, we were looking at your catalog. First of all, your covers are amazing. I'm just going to tell you, we were like,
doing them is on point, and there's consistency. It's amazing, and you can tell right away when you look at them what your brand is, like what you're all about, and I love it.
So you get mad props from us because if you've listened to us, you've heard us talk about like some of the things that authors do that we're like, you should probably have them. Let's have a conversation.
Oh my God, a book cover is so important. It could change that royalty month to like 3 figures to 5 figures.
Yeah.
If it's done correctly, But it took me years to learn that.
Well, you've got it nailed now. Your books they're beautiful. They're absolutely pieces of artwork. You've got that.
Awesome.
So let's talk about 50 books. First of all, we're both jealous on this side. That's what we're going to say about that. We're jealous. But when did you start? When did you start writing?
2010, I started writing novels, and it was paranormal romance. The first book was called Fire Baptized. It was about a pyromancer. Remember during that time of the 2010, it was like, the good old years. It was like Twilight was big and True Blood was out, and it was a very paranormal time, right? So, and Harry Potter, of course. So I wanted to write, paranormal romance. So I started writing it. I really loved it. I kept writing for about 2 to 3 years. And then like that third year of me writing and working and going to law school and being pregnant with kids, right?
Whoa. Hold on. That's like 12 things you just.
Yeah, it's like law school, like I quit law school the third year. It was the last semester. I said, I just want to write, right? But like, and I'm working Department of Labor and all that. But the third year of me writing, my husband, who's now my ex-husband, leaves me and my 3 kids.
Oh my goodness.
So he's just like, well, he didn't leave. He said, I would like to invite other women into the marriage. And I was like, no.
I would like to invite you to leave that. That's what I'd like to invite you to do.
15 years. 15 years marriage. It's like, now we're just going to have sister wives. I'm not a sister wife type of person.
If you want to potentially send me his name in the mail, use a stamp, we can help resolve that situation. I can find a dark alley. I'm really good at that.
So
I write over research.
This is all in Florida too, because y'all are in Florida now, right?
Yeah, we're in the Tampa Bay area.
We were in Sarasota when we got married, and then we went down to Miami and lived there for like years and stuff. So I went to UM Law down there.
Oh, wow.
But he leaves, and I'm just like, everything just devastated. And the only thing that was making me happy was writing. So I'm like, you know what? If I was just writing more books, I would be a millionaire because, yeah. So I quit my job because all I got to do is write another book, right? And I'm going to be a millionaire. So years of poverty after that. Struggling. But it all paid off. I'm so blessed, full-time author, and life is really good.
That's
awesome.
Awesome.
That's a dream.
Oh wait, I did want to ask this, Rebecca. Did you want to talk about your giveaway real quick as we're going into this? What did you want to
Yes.
We totally forgot what we're talking about.
It's all good. I haven't drunk since like June, so who knows what I'm going to say today.
Oh, I love that.
But yeah, I'm always giving away stuff. I love your podcast. I wanted to make sure my readers and anyone else came on and checked out the entire podcast, listened through. So I'm giving away to anybody, though, who listens to the podcast. Your listeners, my listeners, new people. I'm going to say 3 mystery secret codes words. The first one is love. Love is the first one, LOVE. When I post it, I guess, is there a way to just put my email address or something?
Oh yeah, no, we'll put a link to you on there and everything so they can reach out to you. Yes.
If they can send me the 3 code words, anytime next week. I think it's gonna end like on. We'll have the set date because it records at different times. But if they can send me the 3 codes, then I'm gonna do a random pick from the people who have all of the code words.
Oh,
basically.
I love that. I love that. And I think we should throw an extra special thing in here is that if you go on and you sign up for your newsletter, they can get 2 names in the drawing. Let's do that.
I like that.
But if they sign up for that newsletter, they get 2 chances at that drawing.
Whoa. And what I will be giving away is it's a whole martini set. So it's like a mini bar. It comes with like the stand. It comes with the glasses. It comes with the shaker, the twister. It's like a bunch of stuff that comes with the martini thing. And so it's a really nice set. I was actually going to buy it for myself. That's when you know it's a good prize, when you're like, I don't need that, but I'd like to buy that. So,
it's on my shelf. I like it. I'm going to have one.
So yes, first mystery code word is love.
Yay!
LOVE.
The second one will come in the second half of the podcast, and the third one will come in the literary briefs when they're not wearing underwear.
Thank you. Yay!
Okay. So
I'm making a note so I don't forget that.
Yeah, no, I'm hoping I remember it. It's okay. Our listeners will be like, what are the other words? Okay, so you started writing. So you in basically 10 years have done 50 books. That's like 5 books a year at least.
Ooh, like the first time I published 2010, but it took me a year, maybe a year and a half to even write that book. I think y'all know how that first book or two, it's just like, and I think it was like 1,000 pages. But then when I published it, it was like 220 pages. It was just a bunch of, and they did this and they did that, and let's talk about this tree and the building, and nothing that had to do with the plot line. You're figuring out how to freaking write. I started getting faster and faster, but really what made me super fast is not being able to buy food for like the struggle. That was like the motivation. It was like, okay, I gotta get these books out, But yeah, 50 novels. I'm pretty blown away by it. I've been trying to battle with Nora Roberts, but I've given up. I mean, where's she at now? 140, 150?
Yeah, ghostwriter. What? Did I just say that? Wait, that was weird. I must have a bird in my house. It just said that.
Wait, what? What? No, sorry.
Yeah, so she's James Patterson. Okay, we're not gonna go there. But yeah, okay. So then now I don't gotta. Okay, good. I don't have to try and catch up with her then.
No, do not try to catch up with her because but at the rate you're going, and you're gonna surpass her here soon because.
But and when again bringing her up, she would do more than 12 books. Like me, even getting, I think 10 books in a year was my most. And that was like horrific, like gained weight, hands hurt, didn't know what was going, like I was getting spoiled for Game of Thrones because I had not looked at TV. Like, so to me, 7 novels is where I try to be now. But that 10 novel stuff, everybody can have that. Until I get a butler and a cook and all types of extra stuff, I'm not doing 10 novels a year. That's crazy.
That's still, what you're doing is still impressive. So you went to law school. So let's go back in time. Let's peel this back a little bit. So when you were growing up, did you like to write?
That's what I loved about all your different podcasts. Because I listened to Michelle Prince, I think it was Connie Winter. I wrote them down. A bunch of them. But anyway, everybody wrote poetry.
Yes.
And I loved writing poetry. And I always struggled with what I was going to do. So in high school, I was going to be a rapper for sure, right?
Ooh,
Super, of course, I was called Chocolate Tie. And I was a horrible rapper, by the way.
Oh.
I was a really bad rapper, but I wrote rap, I wrote poetry, then I would write little short stories, and then I kind of gave it up. I was like, I knew that I would never write a novel because it was too long, and I didn't want to do all of that.
That's way too much effort. We're going to put that on hold.
But so it wasn't until law school where you got to write so freaking much. Law school teaches you, besides arguing and kind of getting over on the law, like looking at the law and saying, okay, how can I get over? Then it also teaches you lots about writing. And when I got back into writing, I started reading a lot of paranormal romance, like Kate Daniels. God, I can't think of all of the different, my urban fantasy chicks that I love. But I started reading a lot of them, and I was like, where the hell is the Black female? I want a Black hero,
yes,
half naked, on the cover with a tattoo, a tramp stamp. Like, where's she at? And so I ended up writing that. That's how I ended up even getting into writing.
You know what? That's the best kind of way because if there's something missing in the publishing world and you don't know what to write that. Like what? Gotta throw yourself out there.
No, totally. You can rewrite Twilight 1,000 times, but it doesn't change the fact that there is very much a stereotype, and we can get into the, Romance Writers of America and how that blew up in their faces. Like, seriously.
2020.
2020 dumpster fire. That is the publishing world.
Holy shit. Did you see? Like, January comes in and it's like, RWA. I'm like, whoa.
No, honestly, we heard about it, and I think we had the same sentiment, which was about fucking time.
Yeah.
Like, it's about damn time. And we feel that way. If you listen to our podcast, we have a publishing company. We are done with the way publishing is being done right now to authors, because it's not even just that. It's like any voice that doesn't fit into the box that they want to stuff it in is not a voice to them. And we're giving them all like loudspeakers and going, nope, you're going to talk, because there's so much to give from how much writing means to people. Like almost every author we talk about, pretty much, I think every author, I'm saying almost every author, that's about good. Every author we talk to has some book that impacted their life, that made a difference. Probably multiple books, but something that caused them to do that. And I think as authors, even if we write very fun things, we want to make that difference. We want to go, you can have something better than what you have. You can accomplish
100%.
something you want to accomplish. And if the voices are all just the same exact voice, or only like 3 different versions of the voice, you're not going to have the same impact.
Or, like I write fantasy per se, and so it's something that I follow a lot. And the thing is, there's a lot of fantasy set in like England, Europe kind of style, medieval.
100%.
I don't hate that, but then you'll get what I hear from traditional publishing is they're like, okay, we'll take on 1 or 2 African inspired fantasies.
You get the magic Negro author for the year.
Yeah, and then they're gonna be 1 or 2, like Asian inspired, and they're like, oh, we're reverse diverse, but it's like, why is it that you only have 2 of this, but you have 50 ones that are based off, England medieval fantasy? And it's like, why is there a glass ceiling on diversity? It's like, yes, we allow diversity, but we're also going to put a ceiling on it. And it's like, why?
I feel like, and I'm gonna say something that's maybe not going to be loved, because I do human resources for my day job right now. So that's what I do. So this is a whole world that I've been in. And one of the things I hate is I feel like a lot of times, and this came up, I'm sorry to sideline this, there's a position in a lot of companies called a chief diversity officer. And their goal is to insist on diversity within the workplace and how to get inclusion and stuff. But there was a Wall Street Journal article that said the average length of time, and keep in mind, average length of time a chief diversity officer lasts at a company is 3 years. And that is because they cannot make a difference. So they don't stay because they can't make a difference. Because
that's what I did with the Department of Labor. I fought discrimination and stuff down in Miami, which is a different level, because Miami, it's predominantly Cuban.
Yes.
So we were the only office in the Department of Labor that was fighting for white people.
What?
Usually you're fighting for other races, but in Miami, it's like they're going to hire Cuban or black first. So like the white man was the struggle. So that was a real weird situation. But what you're talking about now with diversity and the disparity of it and the non-inclusion, that's been my 10-year that's why I stopped with I'm a hybrid author, right? I have a book with Simon & Schuster. I have books with a lot of small presses, and then mainly I do self-publish, because I've had publishers respond to me and say, you know what? If you just made this character white. I get that all the time. I was at a conference, RWA, my last year of RWA membership. I was sitting with a bunch of agents and a couple editors from some publishers I love. And they were like, Black people just don't read. That was one of the things they said.
Oh my God.
Yeah, RWA. Black people just don't read. And it's just not a market. The market is Midwest, white woman between 25 and 55. And that's just how it is. And it's just not marketable, and we're not going to make any money, and blah, blah, blah. And they were telling me, you really would have more money and be more successful if you wrote white characters.
I think it's not the fact that they're not reading, it's probably because they can't see themselves in publishing. Like, don't get me wrong, we always like to read things that don't look like us, but if you never see anything of yourself, then you may not be inclined to go and search them out.
No, totally. And I think what you were saying before, I think a lot of publishers put token people, and that's what I'm going to say.
100%.
People to do, and that's what I meant on the diversity, coming full circle on that, is I've watched companies, not my company, companies that will choose people, and then every time you see a picture of the company or some workers at the company, it is the same 2 Black people and the same Asian person and the same 3 Hispanic people. Like, they just go find them and they're like, okay, we're gonna do another photo, come on out. And I'm like,
come on out over here. Yeah.
what's going on? It's true though, and it drives me crazy, because also, like, for instance, we represent a lot of LGBT. We do a lot of male on
Oh my
male.
God, that's a struggle right there too.
Yeah, and we have male writers that are writing male on male.
Yep.
And it's a huge difference, because if you look up that particular genre, it is a bunch, and this is not bad, but it's a bunch of middle-aged white women writing male on male erotica. And I'm like, that's fine, you can be creative and I love you, but can we get some guys writing about having sex with other guys? Because this one's having sex with other guys.
Well, they're the ones that are going to be like, hey, this is the way it is versus what we interpret things to be. You know, it's just like,
100%.
yeah, because it's always like the only time they really do diversity is when someone who's like, I'll say the example of The Help, right? It blew up. But at the end of the day, the author was a white woman writing outside of her.
Break it down.
Preach,
sister. Preach.
You know, and that's not to say that people don't have the right, like anyone should always write about
Whatever they want to write about.
Right?
Yeah.
In all aspects, but you have to also allow people who are of that experience write that experience.
Yeah. And that's one thing that I do want to push, because I don't mind because I have a lot of white author friends who, like, I have one friend, Milana Jack. She writes, sometimes she does alien romance, but she sometimes has like a Black woman in it, and she's asked me certain things. Oh, is that? And she was really nervous. And I was like, don't be nervous. Go ahead and write it. We're very similar, Black women and white women. We're very similar, especially in America. Like, you know, it's not that many different things. But however, thank you for asking me about stuff. Thank you for wanting to make sure that you got it right, and keep on going. I don't like when writers are limited. Like, don't limit me as a writer. I want to write all different types of stuff. And I think every other person should write different races, different cultures, because we're writers and creatives. Right?
Yes, but do your research.
Do your freaking research.
It's kind of like when a lot of and this is, again, I'm not stereotyping everybody before I get angry emails. It's males writing females, like guys writing from a quote unquote female perspective. I have a friend that wrote a Victorian lesbian steampunk novel series, and it's amazing, and he encompassed it. But that's because he talked to his wife an awful lot and made sure she read it and was it the right voice, versus, you know, we were joking about this earlier, this dame walks in and she's shredding, and they're trying to write it as if a girl wrote this thing, and you're like, no girl would ever say that. I don't care. No girl would ever say that.
Yeah, I took a creative writing class when I was still in college years back, and I wrote a male character, and I actually had one of the male guys in my critique group read. He's like, you know, your character is great, but certain things, the way he's describing it, isn't how a guy would describe it. And it wasn't anything controversial, you know, worried about did I write something totally out of my wheelhouse, but it's as simple as describing an alcoholic drink. The way I described it was more what a female inclined. And are there females that would describe, like a male would describe it that way? I'm sure. But if you're trying to be, you know, what's more common,
exactly.
And you don't know unless you have someone else read it. You have to have people who are of that experience, gender or otherwise, read it.
This is good writing, though. This is being a responsibly good author. You're researching anything. You're going to China. You're not just gonna like wing it. You need to research that. You know everything about the culture. About the...
You don't wing it.
Yeah, you know it was Chinese writing on everywhere. Whatever. Let's get back to the Roman. No, you have to research that shit. And
oh my God, I love that so much. Okay, so you put out these novels. So let's talk a little bit about publishing. right? So you started putting out, you said you have traditional small press, which is still traditional, but just not the big 5, right?
Yeah.
And or 4 now. 4,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
did McMullen eat Penguin? One of those. Somebody ate
Someone.
There's
somebody
a lot
ate,
of eating going on in the publishing.
so now it's the big 4. And then you did self-publishing. Where did you start?
I started because that first book, Fire Baptized the Pyromancer, that was a book where in 2010 everybody was like, make her white. Like I had agents respond, like I saved all of those emails and stuff, but it was like agents were saying make her white, publishers were saying too much ethnic stuff going on. Another publisher was like, this is too urban. And I'm like, is it? Because it's an entire fantasy world. It's supernaturals inside of a cage city in Miami. However, the magic-based system was Santeria, because we're thinking Miami, right?
Right.
But still, they were like, oh, it's too urban, it's too black, it's the names are so African. And I'm like, these names are in the Bible. I got them from the Bible. What are y'all talking about?
Oh my goodness.
I gave up. I went self-published just being pissed. But like those first 4 or 5 years, remember being indie was kind of seen as a disgusting thing. Like, you self-published? That's nasty. Your book is probably going to be with errors and you're not professional. You're just trying to make money. So I struggled with trying to get the agent and the publisher. And I did write a couple books where it was like, they would accept the mixed girl. Full black, mixed, we'll go with that.
Okay.
And then on the cover, of course, the girl, she looks like she's Puerto Rican or something like that. It's like, okay, this girl's not even a little bit black, whatever. And I gave up and went, complete self-published. And I'm actually now happy that a lot of publishers aren't getting it, getting smart enough to realize that Black women read, because like I'm making like 5 figures a month now.
What?
No, that's awesome. And, yeah.
No, please don't publish any of that. Please keep it where y'all at. I'm good.
No, totally. Well, I think that'll just add to your profitability as more gets out there, because I think it's communicating to the right audience and finding your fans and finding how to communicate with your fan base that
100%.
makes a big difference. Because, we started our publishing journey this year. Like we started in January as far as being a publisher, because basically not the same journey as you or even close, but we ran into like the fact that we put our stuff out. Like I have my erotica series, so I write under 2 different pen names, but my erotica series is not, yes, it is not a romance. There is no romance in it. It is a very powerful girl taking back her life.
Oh, hold up now. What's the name of that now?
It's called My Home on Whore Island.
My Home on Whore
Island.
Oh, I'm gonna read that. Now that's some shit I like.
So
My Home on Whore Island. Let's go.
Yeah, I have this sequel coming out, but I wrote it and it's comedic. But the one thing when I wrote the book, a lot of the guys that are in the book are not Adonises. That wasn't the point. A lot of them are very real people that you'd meet, right? And and I got a lot of feedback from people saying, one is you've got to make this so that the guys are more like the Adonis people that people want to see. And the other thing was that she was too strong of a female character. Because she knows where she's at. She knows what she wants. She's having one night stands. That's what the book is about. And yeah, but apparently that's not okay to do that. It's not okay to have all these things in place. And it's nowhere near the same journey that you've been to. But we just went, me and Vanessa and my other partners went, that's fucking it. We are done. We are going to start publishing. We're going to bring the publishing apocalypse. We're going to make it so writers can write. We know how to market. We're going to get this stuff out there. And we want the books that nobody else is willing to go behind. We want the authors that nobody's willing to go behind and back them the hell up, because these are the writers we love. And it's so dumb to have somebody tell you that names are too African. Are you out of your effing mind? That's not
I'm
the
serious.
case. Yeah.
And first of all, what I dislike about publishers and agents, which I kind of laugh now because they're struggling right now. Because so many creatives are going independent and owning their own stuff, starting their own publishing companies. We're in a revolution right now. And everybody got to pick a side, okay? And so stop acting like readers are stupid.
Yes.
Readers
Amen.
are so, first of all, readers read almost everything. Romance, erotic, they read all types of shit. And they love to escape into a different character, different culture, different diverse group, different land, they like to escape. So why would we want to give them the same fucking experience all the damn time?
I agree. 1,000%. I agree. Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. We're actually at 30 minutes. We have to take a quick break and we will be right back with Drinking with Authors.
This is the voice of Drinking with Authors. You are at our commercial break, and our commercial is, hey, do you want to be a guest on our show? Or do you have a question for one of the guests on our show? Or do you have a brilliant drink recipe that we've never heard of? That would have to stump us. But you could reach us at drinkingwithauthors@gmail.com or on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. You can direct message or even just leave a comment on one of our posts. We would absolutely love to hear from you.
Okay, wait. So we're back. Woo, we're back. Who knows what the producer's going to say we're back at any point. Okay, so we were talking about the traditional publishing stuff. Let's talk a little bit about your writing methodology. So we like to go over, are you a pantser? Are you a plotter? Are you a phalancer? Like talk to us about coming up with your brilliant ideas and then making them happen.
Okay. So,
no pressure. We want the entire way you do it, step by step. We're writing this down. None of that's happening. None of that's happening. We're and just listening.
my biggest thing, so you ever look at one of those movies or TV shows where they're trying to track down a mafia group and they have a board and it's all these faces and then like the red lines going to all of that shit?
Yeah.
That's what I do. I do all of that shit in the beginning. I'm like pansing, I guess. No, plotting and outlining everything. And then when I start writing, I just never follow the damn thing. Like I don't know what that shit was about. And I don't know how to not do that. Like every time I do 2 weeks of just, and the index cards and all that. And I have my charts. And I'm like, this time I'm following the charts. And then I just do whatever the fuck I want to do. So
I love all of
the process.
What you're doing is working. I'm a pantser. I'm like 1,000% a pantser. I will write down like one word things to kind of remember some of the stuff that I need to put some places. I cannot do the outline thing. I get bored. I get annoyed. And not because my characters, like I always know where I'm going. I always know what the end of the story is that's going to happen. But I absolutely cannot do that. I feel like I'm a writer that thinks in scenes because I've done a lot of writing of plays and screenplays. So I think in scenes.
Wow.
And I can't do it the other way.
Screenplay writing is difficult. I think screenwriting is difficult.
It is because it's different than tell me, it's show me. So you have
100%.
What you're really putting on for a screenplay is dialogue and scene
heavy
description.
Dialogue.
Yeah, but you can't do the like scene description we want to do is you kind of, when you were talking about your original manuscript, it made me think of the Planes of Passage, because that was from the Clan of the Cave Bear series. And that book, I used it to hold up my desk. That thing was so big. And all it was describing the grass and the tree leaves and where it's from. And I'm like, can let me skip to somewhere where
the story. Come on.
The whole book.
Yeah, it's so bad. And so I don't even know where I was going with that. I was going somewhere.
We were talking about
planting. So I do understand. I think you should keep doing what you're doing though, because it's successful. So what you should do is take pictures of these boards so that all of your fans can be like, oh my God, and the book just goes left. And you're like, I'm over here.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, because I have I have a Russian mafia series that's called The Lion and the Mouse. And it was only supposed to be one book, and now I'm like writing book 6 now.
Oh,
And
wow.
then I have another series that it's mafia set in Paris, so it's the Corsican, but they're the enemies of the Russian mafia series. So there's a timeline and all of this stuff that goes with it. And my Russian character, Casimir, is so ridiculous that like I was writing it last week and like he kills everyone. And I'm like, wait a minute. So now, oh, that's gonna change everything because he just got crazy and killed people. And I'm like, what the fuck? Because you know how you got to stay true to your character. So that's why pansing to me, I get why you pans, because if you stay true to your character, plotting is pretty hard. It's, you know, and you don't want to stick to that plot that you've written out if you want to stay true to characters, especially a character that's kind of like unpredictable.
Oh, I agree. And I think, you know, it's interesting though, because we had Jeff Strand on here and he came up, how he writes was like, it blew my mind. Like, I love him in person. He is one of the most funny people you will ever meet, but he's not like jovial like we are. He's very like, I want to say straight man funny, but he cracks me up. But he is, and I called him a method writer because he gets his idea very creative. He's a horror writer, but he literally just sits down. He's not driven by characters. He just goes through he doesn't write a whole thing out. Wow. He just goes through it and knows exactly where he's going, how many words he wants to get to, like very methodical. And I'm like, he's the only one I've talked to that's like this, that has this trait. And then I have so many other people that are like, my character went in this direction.
I can't go full pantsing because I have like ADD. So if I don't have like a somewhat of a like kind of like something guiding me, like a guiding light, I will start getting like can't think straight. I can't know how to approach the story. So me, I always am floored by people who do like full blown outlines that are like 25 pages. Yeah. Or anyone who does like a full. So I kind of do a little bit of both. Like I like to have like some plot points, maybe something a little bit more thorough than what you guys would do.
Yeah, like a structure.
Yeah, but still have wiggle room for that surprise because I get bored easily as well. So I think it's interesting how everyone's so different. But I think also you should never feel bad about your process because if 100%. Your process works, stick with it. Who cares what anyone else does?
Yes.
Because writers are insecure enough and battle with shit enough. And, you know, the more that you can get a lot of stuff of what I need to be as a writer, what I must do as a writer, how fast I should write, what I should write, you know, what the character should, the more you can get that out, the best the writing becomes, you know. If you just not give a fuck at all, that's like the book right there. That's the best-selling book right there. So, you know.
I agree. And you know, we were talking about this today, Vanessa. I'm going to call her out now because I've had enough drinks. I can call her out. Whatever. Okay, so because Vanessa has the problem of being a perfectionist.
Yes.
And so I keep going, let it go, just like let it go. We're both seeing you because you can also, you're never going to get that damn thing perfect. I don't care. You're never going to get it perfect, no matter what you do. Just get good work out there and then do another piece of good work. Because every time, like I've gone back, because I'm writing the sequel finally, which took me forever for my Home on Horror Island. And I went back and I reread it, and there's a person doing the audiobook for me, and I'm listening to it, and there's stuff that I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? Why did I do that? And I go, no, it's fine. I'm going to write the next book. Just make a note. Don't ever do this in the next book.
Right.
And so I'm like, you got to let it go and you have to experience it. And you know what? You're going to look back in 10 years and go, oh, I used the word they too much in this book.
Well, that's crazy because I'm writing, you know, novel 51 and I'm sitting there like, oh, is this going to be good? Is this good enough? Is it like it, to me, that feeling sometimes never really goes away. You would think by now I'm like, oh, this is going to be awesome and I'm going to do this and that. But I'm still like, oh, I don't know if I got to go through this. Oh, no, you know what? Forget it. I'm just going to go take a walk because I just don't know what I'm doing right now. This is going to suck, you know? And so I think a lot of authors battle with that. And I don't think it gets easier. I think you just have to instill a lot of shit that calms you down and gets you back in the head because it's going to be a good.
I agree. Well, we're artists. It's the same as putting a painting out there or a sculpture out there. And the fact of the matter is, guess what? Some people are going to like your stuff. Some people are going to hate your stuff. Some people are going to think it's okay, give or take. It doesn't matter. Your audience will find it and your audience will love it. And obviously you have an audience that loves what you do for what
I love them so much. You know what? These women are amazing. Different races, you know, a large part are Black females, but then I will like one time, I think it was April of 2020, I was like, because I got a readers group called K Killers, right? And so in the K Killers,
she's got a gang of murderers. That's what she got.
K Killers represent. Shout out to all the K Killers listening right now. But I remember doing it was April, and you know, April was kind of rough because it's like, oh shit, it's a pandemic, so we got to take this serious, and all these different states are on lockdown and all this. So I remember just doing a post saying, hey, how is everyone? Are y'all okay? Where are y'all at? What's going on? And it was people from like all over, like there was somebody in South Africa, there was somebody in Italy, somebody in Japan, like it was a girl in Norway, white woman in Norway, like, oh, I'm doing it. I was like, oh my God, where are all these people coming from? I thought that most of my people were like Atlanta and New York or some shit like that. And all over the world, all over the US, they all had one woman, is a wife of a truck driver, and she reads while she's riding with him in their truck driving throughout the year. Right? Then there was some doctors, there were some EMT people, there were teachers. And to me, it was just like, holy shit, like there was some military people. And it's like, you just don't know who you're touching with the book that you're worried about, you know? So I get the perfectionism, you know? I get wanting it to be perfect, but then also understanding that, you know, our readers are really forgiving and loving and super open-minded.
I'm staring at Vanessa right now. I hope everyone can feel that through the podcast. Get your shit together. Get it done. Damn it. Okay. So let's talk about, you know, you talked a little bit about a little insecurity in your writing, a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what do you think you're incredibly good at as a writer?
Whoa.
Besides opening that bottle of rum, which was amazing to watch that process.
I was like, where's my ice? I got all these cups of ice, whatever. I'll just pour a little water in here. I don't want to start stripping or anything like that. I want it to be somewhat respectable up here. But anyway, what am I good at, you said?
Yeah, what do you consider that you're really good at as a writer? What are you really proud of?
Wow. You know, I would say I am proud of creating an experience. Like I walk in wanting to create experience. Like I travel a whole lot, and me and the kids, we used to travel like every month. We would go to a new state or a country or something like every month, right? Because I homeschool my kids. So
that ended up convenient, didn't that?
Yeah, did that work out? So like when I was in Thailand, I'm writing about, you know, I want to capture that. I want to take all that. When I go to Paris, I want to take it all and I want to put it in a book. I want the reader to like be in that country, experience tasting the food, feeling the music, feeling just like they're really in there. I want them kind of like an emotional response, some sort of chemical response in the brain and stuff. So I think I'm good at creating an experience where, you know, if that's a thing, I think most writers are like, yeah, duh. That's what we do.
I actually don't think that's the case because I think writers can do that. But there are some, like I learned this lesson myself, very luckily, very early on in my writing. So I wrote a short story based in Boston.
Ooh.
And I was talking about this person and they drove their car and blah, blah, blah. And I had a friend, luckily, that read it before it got published and went, Schnookums, they don't do that in Boston. Like in Boston, you would take, they have public, because we're in Florida, and you know in Florida, the public transit is a joke, right? Yeah, it's total garbage. But they're like, they would take public, where are they located? And I said the part of the city, they're like, no, they would be taking the train. Like that would be the thing. You wouldn't be driving a car. You wouldn't have a car. There's nowhere to park the car in that area. And I was like, oh, and it caused me, because it wasn't a huge monumental thing in the story. Like the fact that they drove to work was the line that got me in trouble, right? But it caused me to go, if you're going to write, this is back to that other thing we were talking about. Look at, I just came full circle. Is research. Know what you're writing about, because for instance, if you have a fan and your fans, I don't want to say a fan, you probably have many fans in Italy, for instance, they're going to know when you write something about Italy, they're going to go, what the fuck did she just say? Like,
oh my God.
Yeah.
I made a major boo-boo though in my first book for my French Mafia series. It was Rhapsody. And he kept saying, I can't think of the word now, but he kept calling her beautiful. But the way he was saying beautiful was how you would call it a male. So it was like saying beautiful, like he was saying it in French. So he was calling a female like a male form of beautiful.
Like handsome.
Oh,
yeah.
Like
So that's like, oh my God, because it hurts you deep in your soul when you make mistakes, you know, like
exactly.
that.
No,
And, you know, and it pulls the reader out. Anybody who knows French, it pulls them out. Like, what? No, every time the guy, and he said it a lot. Every time he says that, they're like, no, what the fuck is wrong with her?
But it's true, and it's pulling readers out of the story. So, what do you think is your biggest thing you have to get over, or your little Achilles heel as a writer?
Oh man, my biggest Achilles heel is that I can start a series and put a huge amount of time and energy and research into a series, and then I'll be like, I don't want to write that anymore. I'm gonna write this new series, and I'm gonna write that. That has been my biggest problem in my 10 years, not finishing. Like that's what I'm doing now. In these past 3 years, I've been finishing out the series, but like my biggest problem in my 10 years is starting a series and not, finishing it. And so, waiting or moving on or getting that whole author ADD, like, where, I want to write this. Now I want to write that. Well, I want to write that. And so I know everybody who's listening who follows me, they're like, yes, girl, because we still waiting on this book or this book. Where the fuck is that book at? So that is my biggest battle. And it's kind of like a cloud hanging over me sometimes. Certain books that I need to put out, it's a cloud that I walk with. So I think even when I tell new writers, I always tell them, listen, if you're going to write a series, just write that goddamn series, put it out. Don't switch to something else because you may not come back to it. Just finish the damn series.
I hear a lot of authors, they'll keep a file. And they're like, it's okay to sit there for like maybe a couple minutes and type out a bunch of stuff. Just get like the kernel of it down.
Yes.
But then you have to move away from it, because if you allow it to live and breathe, then you forget about this other bit, and that's a struggle.
No, well, it leads me to a question. So there's an author that probably, I love her, and I'm trying to talk Jonathan Mayberry into getting her on my podcast, Earl K. Hamilton. She might not, though. She actually listens to it because I've talked about her a few times. And
say again.
What's Laura K. Hamilton? She writes the Brief series.
Oh my God, I love her.
I do, but one of her books, and I have it here because I got her to autograph that chapter, which was Skin Trade. She has a chapter where she says the word wound 13 times in 2 paragraphs. Chapter 15, in case anybody's paying attention, you can look it up. I made her sign that page, by the way. She doesn't know why, but I did.
So boss. You're so boss.
Okay. But one of the things about this series, like the first, I want to say like 4 or 5, I absolutely loved the Anita.
Yep.
And there was a lot of mystery and whatever. And it's not bad, but it's turned very much into the polygamous relationship. Like that whole
Super
thing is,
erotica.
yeah, taken over this thing that used to be somewhat like of a horror paranormal series, because in the first couple of books, Anita, the main character, wasn't with anybody really, because
Anita Blake was like, she wasn't a virgin, but she wasn't, well, was she a virgin the first
I
book?
think she was a virgin. Yes.
She was pretty virginal that first book. Like, we're talking really chill. And then, like you said, second, third, we got what was the guy's name? I know Richard is the shifter.
Yeah.
What was the vampire? Is
Oh my
it
God.
Jean? Whatever.
Yeah. I always
I
want
love
to say
him.
Lestat, and I know that's wrong, but it's the vodka going, Lestat is the vampire, Erica. Duh.
From my other favorite girl. Because I love Lestat. I like vampires, by the way. So yeah. But LKH, I mean, come on. I freaking loved LKH. I bought all the books in her series. I think the last book I read was when it was like she's going with the twins. They're flying in the air, and then they start like fucking in the air and shit. And I was like, listen, this is just too much. Like, I want a little more story. I just need a little bit more story.
Exactly. But that's my point. Like, we're on book 30 of this series, right?
Oh my gosh.
And obviously she keeps selling and stuff like that. But when I look at the series, you have fans that want to read the series, and I'm sure you have fans on some of your series you might have even brought to a conclusion that are like, no, I want the next one.
Yes.
How do you deal with that? Because like she keeps going, and I kind of want to go, okay, could we go back to this one, which I think was the butterfly one, where where they were in New Mexico and the whole situation, and I go,
oh man, because she can write a mystery.
yes, she can.
And she kind of left that. Like LKH, I mean, that was my girl. She could write a mystery, and you read one of her books, like her, like I say my H's because it was like LKH, Charlene Harris.
Yes.
Who I saw during an RWK conference, and I like almost molested her in the elevator, right? Like I'm in an elevator, and I'm like,
back you up on not getting arrested by molesting authors. Good to know that.
I was like, it's cold in here. She was like, yeah, it is cold in here. Isn't that crazy? And I was like, oh, you look so familiar. She's like, oh, I'm Charlene Harris. And I was like, oh my God. I'm like hugging her. I love you so much. I was like, oh wait, I'm so sorry that I'm all on you, touching your body. But a day later, she comes up to me in another thing, and she says, let's do a selfie together. And I was like, oh, good. I thought you was getting a restraining order on me. I'm so glad. But like, and then the other chick, which Kim Harrison, my H girls, like they can all write, but LKH, I just wish she would do a new series.
That's my point, is there is a point where you as an author have to go, this is done. I know it's, fans and blah, blah, blah. This is done. I need to bring it to a conclusion, because I feel like, kind of to your point, when you lose interest in what you said, Vanessa, when you lose interest in that being really the storyline and those characters, and you're kind of going off in another direction, you got to go, here's the bow. I'm going to wrap it up. I know you guys want me to write this, but at least at this time, I'm not prepared to be in this world anymore. And I need to go another world, because otherwise you get this situation with books.
Yes.
Where I feel like I play poker too. I feel like there's a term, pot committed. I've already been a part of it. I'm going to keep going. But I do read the books, and every single time I'm like, this sucks, because I feel like I'm less and less of the actual story I want to read.
Come on. Like and that's what bothered me about, because I finally stopped reading, but she definitely, I definitely think it was like 20 something when I stopped. Oh, yeah. She got a good bit of money. But it was like, girlfriend, can we get some sort of plot line? Like, do we have to just sex? Like, I get it.
Yeah,
we put some story in there.
Yeah, we get you're a superhero now. You have every kind of lycanthropy. You're every kind of vampire.
Hello.
Literally nothing can touch you. And you're dating 47 people. Thank you for keeping that straight.
Lord Jesus, is that how much it is now? 47?
I don't even know. She mentions it, and I'm like, I actually found myself in the last couple of books literally skipping through that whole part. So I'm like, I don't want to hear about this anymore. Can we get back to the plot?
Okay, I got a question. I hope I don't spoil it for LKH people, but does she at least ever get back with Richard? Because I used to feel bad for Richard.
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Richard was like, I ain't dealing with this shit. This is some bullshit.
She has sex with him every now and then, but it's not a relationship because she's married to Micah and.
Oh, I like Micah. Jean-Claude I think it's Jean-Claude was the vampire.
That's it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's married to Micah, Jean-Claude, and then one other shifter guy. So it's the leopard, the other.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah. And anyway, it's too much to keep track of. It's way too much. Okay, Vanessa, you're gonna ask something.
Oh yeah, no, it kind of reminds me of like J.R. Ward, like Black Dagger Brotherhood.
Oh yes, that's another one I mess with.
But I kept finding that I still favored the original like 6 books or however many. I remember at one point I started to like lose it. And it's not that the books were horrible, but I feel like you kind of lost what you were kind of promised in the beginning. Because at one point you were following like a certain group of characters, and then it just became way too many. It was kind of like True Blood, the TV series, where towards the end, I was like, okay, well, we have way too many things going on at one time that I feel I'm not investing in any one particular thing.
Are you talking about the Billet season?
I don't want to, like, towards the end, it's just like, you know what? We just need to let this end.
Let it go.
Let it go. Like,
well, you know what though? You're right. Maybe, and this is a question I've had. When do you stop a series? I mean,
I think this
6. Is it 6? Is it 7?
Well, I think it's not that. I think that you need to do justice on the main characters. You can have a continuation of a saga. A lot of times romance writers do this. So they'll have the 2 people that are initially together, and they'll have their 2 people who are on the close to them but on the outskirts that then become the next book, right? I love it when authors do that. So you still have these characters you're kind of familiar with, but they become the background characters as you move forward. I think
that's what Nalini Singh did with the Angel series. I kind of like that with
exactly. And Cassandra Blake actually ended up doing this with the Shadow Hunters, right?
Okay, that's right.
I think it was 4 or 5 books with Clarice and Jace, right? Whatever it was. But then she went, and they're still in the thing, but she's now focused on these other characters. And I think that's how you do justice to a series, is you don't have to get rid of the world. You don't have to do that. But what is the character's logical where they're going? Like, this is what I see for the characters. And when they get to this point, that storyline is done. So and that's why I think when people do the chronicles and they do stuff like that, so they're not just like the Erica and Vanessa show, and then you can't go off the Erica and Vanessa show because that's how you've done it, versus going, the Erica, this is the Crumbling Orange Cup Chronicles, and then it gets to the end of Erica and Vanessa story, and then you move into the Kenya and Erica story, and you go down that plot where there's in the world. I think that does it justice, but allows you to change it. So you don't have to keep the same characters, the same magic, the same whatever. You can go, now we're taking it from this werewolf and human story, and we're going to do a vampire and human, but it kind of veers. And I think that would help authors. That's my opinion.
I think that's a smart idea. I mean, I think like right now I'm working on a paranormal series, and then next year I have a spy series. But what I'm going to do is because I usually don't do this, just standalone series where same world, but all standalones. I'm going to play with that to see how that goes, because that keeps my attention more than the same couple.
You just drop whoever you're going to have in book 2. You just drop them, not even interacting for most. You could have them there for 2.5 seconds in the book. They pick up the phone from Isabel and go off. It doesn't matter, but you've introduced them so that the next one you've kept the continuity to it.
Right. I also think what fails is when people, like, especially things that become super successful, and then they're like, okay, well, we're making a lot of money, so we're just going to suck this dry until we pull everything out. And I think that's when you start to at least for me, like again, I'll come back to True Blood. To me, by the end of it, I was like, I'm done. It's like Walking Dead. I stopped when Negan came into the picture because I felt like every season was the same kind of thing. We're fighting against White Walkers. We think we're safe, and then this person comes out and they have no moral compass. It kept becoming like the same repetitive thing.
Over and over.
Yeah, and to me, like the most amazing show that originally advertised as a series and then became a limited series was The Watchmen on HBO.
Oh my God.
Girl, listen, the way that show ended, I wanted more, but then now I think about it, I don't want any more. I want it to end just where it's at because it was just, to me, perfect storytelling.
Beautiful.
Perfect.
And meta story too. It was like stories inside of the big story. It was perfect.
Yeah.
I think they should do more of, and we're going to have to wrap up here in just a little bit, but I would love to see them do more of like they did with Altered Carbon and stuff like that. Or Altered Carbon was a good one. American Horror Story is another good one.
I love American Horror Story.
For a season, again, that's sort of the thing. So all of those were entwined and some of the characters came back into the situation.
Beautiful,
but this much of a story that was digestible, that's good. And then you move on. Because I think all of us have had series, and that's not the only one. The Nita Blake one just happens to be a grossly long situation, which she had. But I actually felt the same way about Anne Rice. I loved Interview with a Vampire. I thought it was just...
Oh, yeah, but didn't Lestat, like, doesn't he go to hell?
Yeah.
And fight Satan inside? It got crazy.
Where the hell did we just go? We're like...
Yeah, like... You follow, and you can go with the Vampire Chronicles for maybe 6-7 books, and then after a while it just gets fucking crazy.
Exactly. And so I always think it's also good for authors to have people around them to go, like on your arm, sweetie, just slow down now. We're just gonna
we're good.
We're good. Let's tie this shit up with a bow. We're good. And of course, I mean, if it's something that you can keep going and you're passionate about and you love and you're invested. But as long as you're doing that, I think it's great. It's just, there definitely is a point. Okay. So anyway, wow, we could talk for hours.
I can talk all day.
Amazing.
I don't get to talk to people much anymore, but not people over 18. So I'm like, yay, talking to adults and I'm drinking.
So let's talk about what's coming up next for you. What is the next book you're publishing?
Oh, so second mystery code word, because I just remember.
Oh yeah.
We've been drinking.
Yeah.
Second mystery. Let me do a slash so I can run because I got a little paper. Is Death. Death. Death.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know if y'all know, but we're in a pandemic right now.
I was wondering what was happening. It was very weird outside.
I had no idea, right? And then there's an election. Oh my God, that's been fun. I'm not going to talk about that. But it's an election. And then there's some other stuff, riots and things. So I just needed a minute to leave contemporary world. And so I was writing my Russian and Mafia book 5.5, Misha and Ava book. And I was like, you know what? I just need to write a shapeshifter. I need men shaping into wolves right now. I need some vampires and shit. I just need to completely escape from the fucking world and just all types of sparkling and all types of shit. Blood, sex, fighting with witches and shit. And so that's what I'm working on now. I'm working on a series that it's just 3 standalone books, Shapeshifter, a witch, and vampire for each book. And just kind of a twist on the origin of how they became and all that. And I want to provide, because each book is going to have tons of illustrations in it. It's going to be a coloring book that goes with the series.
Ooh.
So, and I've not told anyone this. This is a secret. So my readers are like, what the fuck? What? That's what I thought she was working on Lion and Mouse.
And you'll learn everything.
Oh.
They're sitting there like, what? I thought she was doing
That's
that.
a great idea with the pandemic. Coloring book with your erotica. I mean, whew.
It's funny because I just had a meeting with my artist who's in Russia. And I was explaining because every time we do this, he's like always blushing in the video chat. He's like, well, this is a guy. So this time I said, what I want now, I want a standing up 69. And he's just like, it's just like, okay. Like every book I push it further. He's like, so what do you mean? I said, hold up, let me get some screenshots of some pornos. I'm like pulling them up. He's just like, oh, you're gonna do that now? You're gonna, okay.
He's like, can you use a stick figure on a piece of paper?
Oh my God, I love it.
I'm like, no, let me show you the visual. So, I want the guy, he's standing up because he's a vampire and he's strong. And the girl is upside down and she's doing her thing. He's doing his thing. And he's like, okay, I got that. I said, that's image one. Let's go to image. She's just like, yo.
I gotta write this down because I need to buy this
I know. I'm
immediately
like, damn.
when it comes out. Color. I'm writing this down. Color book. I'm gonna get copies for everybody at my publishing company. It's gonna happen.
Oh my
He's
gosh,
like,
I love it.
this is gonna be for the coloring book. I was like, yeah, that's the coloring. He's like, okay.
I love.
Let's have fun. We need our, women. We need a break. We're all just amazing. A lot of us are mothers, daughters, nieces, aunts, all of the grandmothers. We need a freaking break because we heal the world.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I agree, and it's brilliant. Okay, so as we wrap up the first part of our podcasting experience, we need some shameless self-promotion. How do people find you?
All right. My website is kenyawrightbooks.com. I'm also on Facebook, Kenya Wright, but also I have a readers group and we have a lot of fun. It's called K Killers. I do writing contests where the readers can do their own writing contests and I give them Amazon gift cards. I also ask for beta readers in the group. I do a lot of giveaways each week to just keep everybody busy and not depressed. And also, I can't remember because I've been drinking. That's about it right now. Kenya Wright Books on Instagram and Kenya Wright Books on Twitter. I'm not as big on Twitter. I usually retweet a lot of crazy shit because I think Twitter is just such a crazy world.
Oh my goodness.
Instagram, I keep it chill there. Facebook, if you just want to see a bunch of ridiculous shit, is my Facebook profile, Kenya Wright. That's when I'm kind of weird. K Killers, though, is when I get into it and have a lot of fun.
Okay, and then again, for everybody listening, because I remember this right now, this is how my brain works. There is a giveaway for an amazing martini set, and you will get it. We did the first 2 words in this podcast. The next word is going to be in the literary briefs. If you sign up for the newsletter, then you get double the entries in this, because obviously I don't know how you cannot follow this woman in what she's accomplishing, what she's doing. A color book with a stand-up 69. That alone should get you to sign up for everything that she's talking about.
Basically, take all of my money. Ken.
Yes, take all the money. Take the money. So you have been a magical, wonderful guest. Thank you so much for being with us.
This is a dope ass podcast. Like I told you before we started recording, I've listened to about 7 different podcasts this week, and every one of them was fucking enjoyable. I was walking and working out, listening to them. So I'm basically going to be promoting, talking about your podcast.
Thank you.
I mean, I'm 10 years into writing and I was learning shit.
And thank you. And that's part of the reason I love doing this, is because we all need help. We all need little inspirational stories. It's so great sometimes because you find yourself doing something and then somebody goes, oh, hey, you could do it this way. And you go, I didn't fucking think of that, but then you can go do it that way.
But many writing podcasts, because I told you I was looking for a podcast to listen to. Many writing podcasts are stiff. They're very markety. They're very boring, they're trying to be straight laced, and this one is just fun. It's open. Like, I'm an edgy, don't give a fuck type of girl. I need that type of entertainment. So that's why I was like, oh shit. Like, I was stalking him. I remember the fourth podcast. I was like, man, I wish I could be on it. And I was like, oh wait, I am on it. I am gonna be on it. But it was like by the fourth, and I was like, damn, I wish I could be a part of this. And it was like, oh wait, that's why I'm listening, because I'm preparing myself. But
When you
anyway, yeah, so I'm a fan.
you're like, I'm actually on the podcast. Oh my God, you have been amazing. Thank you so much. This has been Drinking with Authors. I've been your host, Erica Lance.
And I'm Vanessa Valiente.
And we will see you next time.
Oh, hi there. I didn't see you come in. Are you wondering what I'm reading? I'm reading the Author's Accountability Guide, produced by the Four Horsemen. Do you need a day-to-day guide on how to write your book, novel, prose, whatever you're doing with your life? Because writing is hard. This has day-by-day instructions, week-by-week tracking, and motivational things from your muses. So, grab a drink, grab a book, and get some fucking writing done.
Okay. We're Drinking with Authors. Woo, literary breach of simply a moment. This is what happens. It's fine. I knew where I am. I knew where I am. Why do they let me do this show? Okay. I'm your host, Erica Lance, and
I'm Vanessa Valiente.
And with us today is Kenya Wright. Oh my goodness! Like, wow. Okay, so we've been drinking. We gotta just. So really, what I have is iced vodka at this point in time. It's just really cold vodka.
Yeah, and I'm down to the end of mine, but it is like a peach honey sparkling water mixed with some good old vodka. You can't go wrong.
Kenya, what are you drinking for us?
I have the KW Quarantini, but now it is just rum. Because when we got into the RWA in the last one, I was like, I'm just going to put rum in my glass because this is a lot. RWA inclusion, you just need rum and ice. So that's where we're at right now.
That's where we've gotten to at this point as grown adults here. Okay, so real quick, while I still remember it, is we are doing a contest. You are doing a giveaway. So say a little bit about the giveaway, and then we'll get to rapid fire questions.
That's right. So I am doing a giveaway of this cool, like, it's a martini mini bar. It's like this wood contraption thing that holds it up together. It's martini glasses. It's a shaker and other tools and stuff to make the martini. It's really dope and pretty and cute. And all you need to do is know the 3 mystery code words. I did 2 of them in the other
podcast. It's okay.
Podcast. I did the 2 mystery code words in the other one. I'm going to do the 3rd one in this one. And once you have them, you write those 3 words down, email me at my email address, which will be posted. And then from there, I'm going to do a random pick. But also, I got the idea from you to do, if you sign up with my newsletter, you get 2 times in the whole random commenter thing.
2 entries. And if as we left the last podcast and you were paying close attention, there's a color book that's going to come out with the next set of books that involve 69. So sign up for the damn newsletter so you know when that's coming out. Because I'm signing up for that newsletter right after we're done with it. And I can type properly, because otherwise who knows what I'll be signing up for. Or what email address. Okay, so we do rapid fire questions as far as Erica gets on that. Okay. I looked to Vanessa to see if she's going to back me up, but then I felt like that's not going to happen. So I love you, though.
It's okay.
Yeah. She's looking at
Vanessa's been chilling the whole time. I love it.
yeah, she is very chill, but I turn and look at her and she's like, what?
Hey, I'm here. Vanessa has that face of I'm here for you. What you want? Just let me know. You gotta let me know though.
One of the sweetest people in the world. Okay, until she's editing your work. No, just kidding. I'm kidding. You're an amazing editor. I'm totally teasing.
But that's good. The best editors tear up your work.
Thank you. Preach,
because you don't want to get embarrassed. You want some. You don't want the nice editor, and then you go out there and you get embarrassed. You want the editor who says a bunch of shit and makes you cry, sit in the fucking corner of your office and your butt naked in the fetal position, like, why? I like the bloodline. That's the type of editor you want.
Yeah. You know what? This is my theory on editing, and not a lot of writers are gonna like this, but I write my story, and unless I have a story issue, meaning I've said something that doesn't make sense, or you're like, you have to bring this up again and again, just take it, read, do all the line edits, fix my grammar, and just give it back, and I'm going to publish it. That is my theory.
Every author, yes, that's what every author says until they get that review or the 100 reviews of, but blah, 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 but blah, 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 and you're thinking, why didn't my editor catch that shit?
I know because my editors are, Vanessa and the other one that works with me are my editors, and I'm like, just do it. I don't want to read that I, mispronounce something. Like, no, just fix it. I didn't put enough commas, put the damn commas. I don't give a shit. I've seen so many people be like, but this is my thing. I'm like, I am not a grammar expert. I do not pretend to be a grammar expert. Fix it.
But and editors are hard to find. So Vanessa, thank you for all that you do, because
thank you.
Editors are hard to find in the indie world, man. Good ones. Yeah. Everyone thinks they can edit.
Oh God, yes.
Right? And also people who are good editors, like I would not, if I didn't care, like I would not take the time, because like if you wanted to just make money, the average person doesn't know what takes to really like mold a story. So you can really do bare bones nothing and make money. But like I'm the kind of person that probably goes over and beyond, because I see the potential and I want you to have like the best story out there. And that's always the ultimate.
That's good editing. That's good editing right there.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Now that we're done with fucking editor spotlight, I'm gonna ask my damn question.
I need to see if do you do freelance editing? I hate to take it there when.
No, she does. She does. I'll send her your info.
Send me her info. I'm always looking for a good editor. Okay.
I'm here for you.
I'm gonna make a note to send the info. Because if I don't make a note, we're done. You're gonna listen to this podcast and go, I was supposed to send her that info.
I'm gonna do the same thing when it comes out. I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, I was supposed to ask her. You're gonna get weird emails once it's published where I'm gonna be like, hey, I meant to blah 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 because I forgot.
I love it. Okay, rapid fire. Ready? You've been listening. Right. You know how this.
I don't have my underwear on. Let's do it.
Okay. What is your favorite book?
Oh. The Haunted Vagina.
What?
The Haunted Vagina is my favorite book. It's by Carlton Mellick. Carlton Mellick, The Haunted Vagina, and it's from the subgenre called Bizarro, right? Okay. Wow. And so I think it's my favorite book because I picked it up thinking it was going to be a joke. It's not a joke. It really is a haunted vagina happening in the book, right? And
it's down too. I need to look up the haunted vagina.
It showed like this guy needs to give me money because I have probably gotten over 500 to 1,000 people to like this book because I post about it every year. But I read this book completely picking it up like whatever, like this is gonna be something stupid. And man, I was in the haunted vagina. I was inside of that haunted vagina. And it was a world and it was supernatural and like, holy shit, like that was some good writing. It was this guy, the male POV is this guy who his girlfriend has a haunted vagina. And he has to go inside the vagina and there's all types of shit going on inside it's a whole world.
Wait, so is he gonna get shrunk to go into the vagina?
I don't know, man.
Listen, you need to read that. We are going on to rapid fire questions. We are not getting into the depths of the vagina right now.
Listen, Everyone who reads books and likes experiences need to read The Haunted Vagina by Carlton Mellick. If you just put Haunted Vagina in there, you're going to get the book because there's not a lot of articles on haunted vaginas.
I would not think so.
That would have stuck in my memory if I've heard of that before.
No, that book is being purchased. I see that happening. Okay.
Please read it and tell me what you think.
Absolutely. What is your least favorite book?
You know authors don't like to do this shit, right?
I know, and that's why I ask every.
Because we'll meet the author or some shit, and they'll slap us or argue with us or some shit. Comfort Food by Kitty Thomas is one of those books that I disliked. I thought it was a good book as far as writing. Writing was impeccable, but it was 2010. It came out 2010, and it was like, girl gets kidnapped. And basically falls in love with the kidnapper. Kind of, he's preparing her for the sex slave trade, and it's like kind of rapey, and she's on a leash and she's in a cage and all of this shit. I was unprepared for all of that. I didn't know about that genre. Remember, 2010, that was a lot of these genres were becoming new. So for me, that shit really just hurt. It was just like I needed a hug after reading that book. I needed a lot of love. But people who love dark erotica and love the whole like slave, like when you're like the heroine being like enslaved and sitting in a cage and with a leash and kind of rapey stuff, Comfort Food is for you. That's your book right there.
Wow, I would not have gathered that from the title alone. I thought you were going to talk about some kind of self-help, comfort.
Girl,
I was like, is this food I love?
Yeah, I was like.
Ooh, like that's why I picked it up. I saw Comfort Food, and I saw the girl. She's in a corner and she's half naked, and there's like the shadows of bars. But I didn't get that. I thought it was just a abstracty thing. But it's the shadows of bars because she's in the cage. But it was like when I opened, I'm a foodie, so I'm like, oh, this is gonna be about food and romance. And I was like, oh shit, he kidnaps her in the first chapter. Oh, what am I doing? And then they're like, oh no, he got a leash. Girl, what's going on? Girl, you gotta get out of there. And they like falling in love and having sex. I'm like, no, this guy kidnapped you, girl. You gotta kill him. Kill his ass. So like, I don't like that book. Too dark.
Understandably, no. So what are your pet peeves as a writer when you're reading? What are your pet peeves as like you're reading the book? What literally will cause you to chuck the book?
Ooh, God, and it's funny because I do this. Don't take too long to break down. Like I think you were talking about when we were talking about screenwriting and stuff in the past podcast. Don't take too long to get in the story for me. You gotta hook me right in the fucking beginning. I go in a bookstore, I open it up. That first page don't get me, make me excited. Fucking putting the book down. Then if you hit me on the first page, give me 5 pages, okay? And then after 5 pages, if you can get me in a whole chapter, I'm with you. But don't tell me what the fucking chandelier looks like if that's not about the story yet. Do that shit later in the fucking book. So that being said, as an author, I love breaking down all of the descriptions and so it's a crazy thing. But as a reader, my pet peeve is hook me immediately, get me into the story, and let me know what's going on, get me excited, and then I'll listen to all of that other shit.
No, I agree 100%. Do you have to have a happy ending?
Whoa.
Or happy.
That's the only thing I kind of dislike about romance is the necessary. I kind of like, come on, guys. Look, I had a series. It was the first book was Cupid and the second book was Valentine. I wrote it with another author called Jade Ebby. Serial killer, his name Cupid, and he killed cheating husbands. Coincidentally, I'm writing this during the whole time of my divorce, right? So, he's killing cheating husbands and shit like that. At the end, sorry, spoiler alert to anybody who hasn't read it. Yeah, he kills the heroine at the end. He's a serial killer. So and everybody was like, this is not a romance. I was like, okay, fine, I'll change the category. But like my thing is, I don't want to know that they're gonna be a happy ending. I don't want it to be a safe book if that's messed up. As long as you don't have pedophilia in it or bestiality or a lot of rape or something like that. Other than that, I don't want it to be safe. I want to like be on the edge of my fucking seat the whole time I'm reading the book.
That it's interesting that you say that because besides the erotica we talked about the last thing, I write horror. That's the other thing I write.
Yes.
Horror, suspense, and stuff. And Vanessa can attest that she's doing some editing right now. Some of my short stories, they don't have happy endings. Not a fucking one of them has a happy ending. Because I feel like you go through those trauma stories, you're not coming out the other side. I'm not saying it's all bad and the bad guy wins. I'm saying it does not have a happy ending. It doesn't get tied up with the bow. You don't feel like, yay, you've accomplished whatever. It just, you kind of get to the end of whatever that story is, and that's where you're at. Like, I think it's interesting you say that because I agree. I don't always like it when it gets to a point and you're like, okay, I guess we're here with this. Like are we at a wedding? What happened? Like where did we go?
I feel the same way, not just in romance, but also when someone has a disability. Like sometimes there is no such thing as you have a disability and at the end magic heals it or you just situations and I'm like, that's not realistic. Sometimes
you want and that's the beauty of horror, because I like to write a little horror. I think horror is important for the world. And the reason why I think horror is important is because one of the beauties and purposes of horror is to give you gratitude for the situation that you're in and gratitude for what's going on in your life. It's like, damn, I'm glad I'm not in that cabin at the end of the woods right there. Like, whoa, woo, okay, I'm not there. Life is better for me. And so, no, you can't always have a happy ending. And my biggest thing is I don't want the reader to walk away thinking, yeah, I knew everything that book was going to be about. Hell to the fucking no. Like, I never want people to know what's happening on the next fucking page. And so that's what messes me up about romance at times because you must have the happy ending or the happy for now. So they know they're going to be together. But so I have to struggle with figuring out ways to fuck them up in their mind. I want the reader to be fucked up as possible. Like, but are they gonna be together? But are they I want that emotional reaction,
Oh my God, you are saying the words. This is my favorite reaction when my work, either I'm reading it publicly or I've had it read by actors at different events. My stuff, and I had this one actress, and she was beautiful. She was in her 60s, and what we did is we submitted our work, and the actors chose the stories they wanted to read. So, a bunch of people submitted. They chose this beautiful woman. She'd actually been on several episodes like CSI and things like that. I loved her to death. But she took my story, and at the end of this particular story, the last line is, and he felt her rip his throat out, and the world went black. And so this girl's up there, she's reading it, right? And she reads it very, of course, eloquently, beautifully, whatever. And then she does that, she says that, and she looks up, and you could tell the whole audience was like, where's the rest of the story? And then she closes her little binder and walks off. And
moving.
There wasn't any clapping at first or anything. People were like, what the fuck just happened?
There's a book I read. It's called Ryan's Bed. I can't remember for the life of me the author's name, but Ryan's Bed. And it's like a girl kind of with her head bent over her knees. The last line, I don't even want to say it out loud. It's not horror, but it deals with, there are some trigger warnings. We'll say this story has trigger warnings, but the last line, I closed it and I looked at my TV that was black and I was like, what did I just read? I wanted another book, but then I sat back, I was like, I don't think I want one. It was that kind of book, but it was perfect. I love that.
No, and I like it when you have that, because I was standing in the back of the audience and I'm watching and people are turning to the people they're with, and some people had bent their heads. And then after she's like halfway walked away, people started clapping. And they were like, wow. But you could tell people were like, what?
They're never going to forget that. There's somebody right now in their house, like, and I never got that ending to the story. Like someone's thing, and that's what keeps the person's mind still mulling over. And then they start. It's kind of interactive. Now I'm getting artsy. Now it becomes an interactive thing where you're now the reader or the listener is now creating the story and what happens in their mind, and that's cool. That's cool.
I want that. I like that. I like when, as a reader myself, I like when I'm reading and I go, wow. And I see the artistry of how, if it's predictable, like I get yelled at a lot because I watch movies, I do stuff, and it's very predictable. Like The Sixth Sense, I was sitting there, and I remember I was with a friend of mine, and I hadn't watched that movie because I was pregnant at the time. I hadn't watched the movie, and he's like, oh my God, you got to see this. I hadn't listened to anything. I didn't know anything, right? And I'm sitting there, and we're literally, I remember 18 minutes in, 18 minutes, and I went, Bruce Willis is dead, right? And he goes, where did you hear that? And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, he's not the only person he's talking to is the boy, blah, blah, and he has to change his clothes. Like, I literally was, because deductive reasoning.
You guessed it?
18 minutes in,
That's
and he's like,
insane.
yeah, he was like, this is bullshit. The only movie that kind of fucked me up, actually, the only one so far is Fight Club.
Oh.
Where I was like,
God, that's one of my classics.
Oh my God.
But you know what? I do feel like sometimes American cinema, I don't know how we got on this, but we're here.
we're here
now.
on these things. That's what we do.
American cinema can be very cliche, very like what do they think? That all of the viewers are stupid? Are they saying that the American people, and maybe I can argue either way, but are they saying American people are a bunch of morons? It's like a lot of cinema that's just like like just very cliche, very like mechanic shit that you already know. And that's how romance is seen. And that's bullshit because romance and even erotica, you can go down some fucking tunnels, some alleyways in many books and get fucking lost, and your whole life is changed forever with romance novels and erotica. But there are some of the commercial ones that are very, and maybe a little Nicholas Sparks-ish and some of those other people, but like you can get a kind of like a category type of, and this happens, and this happens, and that's fine too. But a lot of romance and erotica, there's some shit where they dig and carve deep within your soul and your hearts, and you can't let them go. And that's the best shit right there.
I agree 100%. Okay. Is there any, like when you're reading, if somebody doesn't grab you, are you willing to put a book down? Will you stop reading a book, or do you just begrudgingly finish the book?
I am a bougie ass Black woman. Hello. I don't know if you've met a bougie ass Black woman, but you can
yes. Many friends.
Listen, my time is money. Okay? Serious. You better fucking hook me. If you don't hook me, keep it moving. I'm going to something else. I can look at when it comes to TV shows, when it comes to movies, when it comes to books, they better get me, and it better be excellent. It has to be art house, cinema. It has to be, tell me something about life. Do something different. Or if it's bullshit, I don't have time because I'm feeding the seed, and the seed is my brain, right? Yeah. And I don't want that gunky ass shit in my mind. So like, I love Tyler Perry. I love what he's done. I love that he has a big studios. I love all of that. His movies are bullshit, and it's a lot of fucking garbage. Disgusting ass, garbage ass bullshit. But I shout out to Tyler Perry for all that he's accomplished. But I'm not going to look at a bunch of ghetto ass shit. I'm not going to look at anything that doesn't have meaning, that doesn't define who we are as humans, that doesn't take risk in art, take risk in writing, creativity, all of that. Very.
I agree 1,000%. I think that's thoroughly awesome. And while you were talking, I came up with a question and then I lost the question. You haven't asked the damn question.
I'm sorry.
Do you see what I mean? I looked back at her earlier and you were wondering, you were being so nice to her, and then she hasn't asked the damn question.
No, but that's my girl. She's chilling over there.
I know. I'm just here for the ride.
But I wish that we can see the visuals with this, because like y'all look great. Y'all, the emotional stuff y'all are doing, your face and stuff. I feel like this should go on YouTube. Y'all need to consider a YouTube thing, because y'all are fun to watch. Y'all are a good looking group, man.
Well, thank you.
If you inflate her ego too big, I will not be able to.
Yo, let me tell you something. For all the readers and the viewers and listeners who can't see, my V girl, because I've nicknamed her in my mind, V girl, makeup on fleek, hair together, like everything, little necklace and stuff, everything looking nice. You know what I'm saying? Like she's doing her thing, and I'm not into women. Not that it's a problem, but she looks amazing.
Even if you were, no, she is. She is absolutely ravishing. She is. She's beautiful.
I have not dated in 3 years.
I must get put on pants when I get up and do that.
I will tell you, this is the first time I haven't looked homeless since COVID. It's been a while. Like I literally will go every day looking like a hot mess, because I'm just trying to survive each day and get up.
Like your makeup looks great. Like the eyebrows, the lips, it looks like you put makeup on, but not much.
Mm-hmm.
And
I tried. That's cool.
There's some stuff going on over there. I'm not a makeup person, and there's some hair and there's some stuff happening.
Oh, thank you.
You really took some time out of your day schedule, where the typical writer is like in clothes for like the same week. Like I've done it, where it's like I wore this outfit all week.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
You wake up and you're like, what day is it? And did I shower yesterday?
I know. I feel
y'all both can easily do a YouTube. I mean, I'm not trying to change your franchise, but you can easily both do a YouTube, and I don't think anybody would be mad to see y'all, because y'all, it's just a lot of smiles, a lot of expressive, like fun, expressive, facial expressions. I don't know. It's just fun. It's fun.
Well, I appreciate that. I was thinking about so I got a camera and everything. So when we were doing this, to do that, and then COVID hit. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, okay, we need to work on it. But I agree with you. And you know what? 2021, we will do visual podcasting. And we'll have you back on.
Yeah, Kenya, you have to listen when you're in town.
Yes.
Always.
Yes. No, we've loved that. Okay. Did you come up with a question at all while she was telling you how beautiful you were?
No.
She's just feeling that. She's feeling the emotions and the love.
She's like, I know.
Everyone needs a Kenya in their life. I'm serious.
Thank you. Doing a little bit more.
Killers. You gotta join K's Killers so you can be on.
Killers, yes, come in there. We have a lot of fun. It's a lot of women of all races, all cultures, different countries coming in there and just kind of bitching about life and having fun.
So I that's fantastic. Absolutely sign up. So I have a question. I have two questions. I come up with two questions.
Oh, okay.
You're coming up with one damn question by the end of this podcast. Okay. I swear.
You know what? Because you are the interviewer. That's you. You're the interviewer, and she is the support. She's the emotional, physical support. She's giving you the energy. She keeps your energy going.
Okay, so you're my sidekick. You're my interview.
I'll throw it in at the end. Oh, okay. I'll throw it. So pandemic has been rough on, I would say, every person. And I've been following a lot of authors, and I know we've all kind of been struggling to get that creative well going. And even though I know most of us pretty stay at home, writing, we're so used to, if we need a moment of inspiration to walk out the door and do something to kind of get our spirits up. What have you done during this year to kind of make sure you're not losing your creativity, you're keeping positive and moving forward?
This year has been so difficult for me. I mean, like I said before, we moved a lot. I called myself the nomad. the nomad family. Like every month we go to a new place. So we were in Puerto Rico. Me and the kids were in Puerto Rico for a while. And like the earthquakes happened. Before that we were in Montreal. Montreal was to New York and then to New Orleans. Then I went to Thailand and they went to Oregon. Like we move a lot, right? So when we came to Atlanta and a lockdown happened, we had to stay in one fucking place, which has been kind of weird and kind of cool. Um, but also I'm a very talk to people, be around people, do things person. And I don't know if I said anything, but I had coronavirus in July.
Oh,
No.
I don't know if I even brought it up. Oh yeah, so that's the thing. So I had me and my three kids, like we stayed quarantined the whole time, and then July 4th we went out and was around a group of people. The kids had their mask on. My dumb ass didn't have my mask on. 3 days later, I can't leave the bed. I walk to go to the bathroom. I'm dizzy. I get my doctor. She tests me. I have coronavirus. Um, the kids, 4 days, they're like coughing, sneezing, running around the house, chilling, right? They're good. Me, 3 weeks, bed. I didn't need a ventilator. I didn't need any of that. But I did think many times. I had 2 EMTs come to the house because I thought I was going to die. Like, I'd never been so sick where I couldn't, like, walk to the bathroom without, like, going dizzy and feeling like I was going to pass out. Or, like, I'd go downstairs to look at a TV show with the kids. And after 30 minutes, like, I couldn't, like, my chest was just heavy and burning. Like, I had to be flat. So for me, 2020 in this coronavirus thing, for me as an author, it's been mind-boggling. And then as a Black woman and police brutality coming up, it's been difficult to write the fun things, And written the books, like I've written a book called Masquerade Death. It was like a serial killer who killed in the way of Edgar Allan Poe, and he killed like corrupt police and all of that, and dealt with, I wrote that like 6 years ago. Because I thought that would be done. So for all of that to go on in the quarantine, it has been a difficult time to keep writing, which is probably why I'm writing paranormal, because it gives me an escape, But quarantine has been very devastating, and I'm a person who meditates every day, and is pretty optimistic and vegetarian and all of that bullshit that makes people like cool. And I want to like, what I'm saying? Like, I'm a real chill person. I'm typically nonviolent. I love everybody. I want to hug everybody. I want to talk to everybody. I want every race, every religion. I love you all. I want to kiss you all. This week, I wanted to go out in the streets and burn shit up.
Oh,
fight people.
yes.
And that's when I know shit is crazy. And so, hey, 2020 is what I keep saying. I say 2020.
2020. Yeah, no, needs to be the year that, though, actually, I will say this. My hope through this entire situation is that on the other side of it, we come out as an improved society and as an improved culture.
Oh.
And that we start making change on so many different levels. There's so many levels we can go into that we need to make change on.
Yeah.
Like, it's so many levels. Like, we can talk about race. We can talk about women. Like the Me Too movement was beautiful for me. We can talk about disparity among gender. We can talk about the LGBTQ community. It's so many things. And I do feel like what I hope is that, yes, by 2021, it's just, improvement. I do say this, in all of this darkness and all of this craziness, there is a lot of people of all races, all religions, all cultures united.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
To stomp out the darkness.
And there's a lot of people who have stepped up and are seeing and making a change and doing little things, because I think it's great when it's a big thing, but if we do little things and we have more education, and we have extremists on both sides of every issue, and to me, I go, let me just put you to the side, and I want everybody in between who is learning something, because you cannot take the media, you cannot take that. You have to look at the issues, whatever the issues we're talking about are, but you take these two extremists, throw them away, and go, I'm going to do this, and hopefully there's education, learning, and we take steps forward and not backward at the end of this fucked up year that we're in.
Education, super important.
And focusing on what's important, which is our family and our friends. If anything, it stops people from focusing on all this other BS on the outside and just like realize the most important thing is the people that continue to support you through the darkness. Like if anything, this pandemic has shown me which my friends that I have are the best people, because they made a point to, how are you doing? What can I do to make your life better? Like that, it really shows people for what they truly are.
I mean, that's what's important to me. I write a lot of interracial, and a lot of the time it's Black female heroines and different colored heroes, right? Yeah. And I've had some author friends who are like, I may not write a white hero anymore. Like, can we even write that anymore? Because with all that's going on, I was like, of course you can. Like, I'm writing, I started writing like the Black woman and fall in love with different races, because there's like, I think 5 to 6 Black men to every 10 to 12 Black women. And I want Black women to understand, girl, date other races. What are you doing? You get out there. Go to France. Go to Ireland. Go to Spain.
There's like, good people in every gender and race. Every country. Good people. They're not.
I'm not going to become there's a pro-Black and then there's a only Black. I don't do the only Black. I do pro everybody, just because, and I'm not saying all lives matter. I'm saying that I had one woman who's Shantae, where you would think she was Black, because I remember I talked to her and I said, girl, I thought she was Black. This is a white girl from Milwaukee. And
wow. Okay.
I was like, girl, Shantae, I thought you was Black. But anyway, she sent me and the kids masks. She had sewn them and put them together and sent us masks. And I was like, that's so fucking beautiful. And I have a lot of situations of just all different races uniting and coming together and teaming up. We don't see a lot of that. We see the rioting, we see the hate, we see all of the things on a broader level. But what you were saying, V girl, was that like, we have to see what's really going on. And in this world, this entire like globe of Earth, we are all connected, as we saw with COVID hitting in Wuhan and then coming to America months later. We are all fucking connected. And you can go to like a place like Thailand. When I went to Thailand and saw poverty and was like, damn, I was upset with America with racism. And then I saw third world poverty. That has changed my whole outlook on what I'm upset about. So, like you said, I just hope there's a better America next year. And that I think love is the answer.
Yeah.
And acceptance and just being open-minded, because anybody getting killed, I'm going to be upset about. I don't give a fuck what race they are. I'm sad. Mm-hmm. And I feel that deep in my soul with all of America, not just the Black community, but all of America. It's a large part of America who's like, we're tired of this. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Yes. And I think all of our positive energy and vibes. You know, it goes where it goes. That's the fun of this podcast. Okay, third word. Oh,
yes, third word.
Look, I kept this on.
You're good.
What is your third word, Kenya?
My third word is magic. Magic. I believe there is a magical component throughout the world. It's a very mystical time, and you got to hold on to that shit and keep it fucking moving. Magic. So that's the third word, magic. I was going to yell out the first two, but
I know, don't do that because everybody can cheat.
Magic. That's it.
guys. Oh my goodness. You have been amazing. Can you tell people how to find you?
Yes, please come Facebook K Killers group. That is a fun readers group of mine where I'm not pumping all my books and shit. I'm doing writers contests. I'm doing giveaways. I'm posting about all different types of authors from different genres. Um, and I'm just basically trying to make sure all the readers who help me and my kids live and eat and enjoy ourselves, I'm just trying to make sure they're mentally okay and having fun. So I spend my week every day just entertaining them and loving on them and giving them books. Since I don't have a book out yet, giving them other books to read to keep them busy. So come on to K Killers. Also, I have a newsletter that's going to be pumped up on here. I'm on Instagram, Kenya Wright Books. I don't post a lot on Instagram. I just post certain things. Twitter, Facebook, Kenya Wright again. And yeah, in the fall, I got my coloring book with my paranormal series. And then there's another thing that no one knows about that I've been keeping a secret. I have a mobile game being designed. Yeah, and my readers are like, what?
Say what?
You need to go back on
There's
this.
Don't
There's
drink with authors.
messages in your K Killers group saying, "What have you done? You did not tell us."
I'm like, yo, what the fuck is going on? So yeah, I got a mobile game called Gangster Romance that is being designed, and it's the characters from all my Mafia and French Mafia series. So
Oh my gosh.
yeah, so anybody, my K Killers, I love you. If you are listening, hey, you just know some shit that other motherfuckers don't know about. Drinking authors.
Oh my God, I love that. You have been so phenomenal. It has been amazing meeting you.
Best interview. I hope prior interviewers are not listening to this because I'm like, this has been the fucking best interview. I had a rough week from just looking at the news, and this was just a cathartic experience for me. Thank you. As a ethnic writer, right? Y'all talking about things just made me feel better. It was like, oh, good, they understand. Oh, good, they get it. Oh, good. So just thank you. Thank you very much for having me on.
You are welcome, and thank you for being a part of this. This has just been amazing. So thank you so much. And we will definitely have you back on the podcast, hopefully in person, hopefully on YouTube here soon.
Hey, y'all look great. Y'all looking good. Let's do it.
Okay, guys. So this has been Drinking with Authors, Literary Briefs, No Underwear Being Worn. I'm Erica Lance.
And I'm Vanessa Valiente.
And we will see you next time.